carefully, consciously, willingly, thoughtfully, lovingly choose what you say.
Kit, don't go anywhere. Back up. I have never done this, and Spirit had told me that we get to listen to this song again, because the first time through, you hear it. The second time through, you listen, right? There is a difference between hearing and listening. The first time through, you're hearing it. The second time through, I want you to listen. And if you want to say the words carefully, consciously, willingly, thoughtfully, lovingly, choose what I say, that's a mouthful, and I've looked at those words a few more times than you have. But feel it. And Kit, I'm going to invite you to take it away for us one more time.
Thank you so much. Wow. Okay.
I have to do what I'm told. Then I don't.
Words. What's the first verse? Words give us poems. Thank you. Golly. My brain just went short circuit on a. Wow. Yeah, I lost my words. Words give us poems, lyrics and rhymes, novels and lines from a play. On rocks and on pages, all through the ages, we've tried to express the same way. Words are the seeds that made you and me, and gave us our nights and our days. So carefully, consciously, willingly, thoughtfully, lovingly choose what you say. Some words are diamonds like wisdom and love, integrity, courage, and trust. But if we should give them to folks who don't live them, their meaning scatters like dust. Words are the seeds that made you and me, and gave us our nights and our days. So I carefully, consciously, willingly, thoughtfully, lovingly choose what you say. Words are the weapons that fire the first shot in all the wars ever begun. We check off our lists, clash with our fists, when we ought to be holding our tongues. Words are the engines that move us through life, holding us safe on the tracks. From station to station, each destination gives us strength to let go of the past. Words are the seeds that made you and me, and gave us our nights and our days. So I carefully, consciously, willingly, thoughtfully, lovingly choose what I say. Words of advice, be patient and nice. The world wasn't made in a day. So carefully, consciously, willingly, thoughtfully, lovingly choose what you say. Nicely done. Nicely done. Thank you.
I'll have a shorter talk, but it's okay, because that song was beautiful. And, you know, I know you can purchase some of these things. Where do they need to go? See her after the service. And you can also go to YouTube and go to Kit Holmes. There's another one that's a hairdresser, music.com. Yeah, put music in there, otherwise you get the hairdresser, which I don't think you're the hairdresser. So that song just really moved me, and it's about the words, and I carefully, consciously, willingly, thoughtfully, lovingly choose what I say. And she says, words are like diamonds, and words are like weapons, and they're the engines, and they're the advice. And so why am I focusing on words? Well, what are words? And I love what Don Miguel Ruiz in the Four Agreements says about words. He says that in the beginning was, of course, the Word. And the Word was with God, and the Word is God. The Word is God. Through the Word, we express our creative power, and it's through the Word that we manifest everything. Now, the word is not syllables and the spelling of something. It's not just a sound or a written symbol. The word is a force, okay? It's the power you have to express and to communicate what you think, and therefore, the events in your lives. The word is actually our most powerful tool. We say, we have a song called Our Thoughts Are Prayers. However, even more powerful are our words, because it's taking the thought and making it concrete and adds the energy of sound and the vibration. It is the tool of magic, but like a sword, just like you said in the weapons, it has two edges. Your word can create the most beautiful dream, or your word can destroy everything around you. The other edge is the impeccability of the word, which will either create beauty, love, and heaven on earth, or it can create hell on earth. Depending on how it is used, the word can set you free, or it can enslave you even more than you know. The word. Our words are energy. It's not just that I speak a word, W-O-R-D. It's the energy. You know, everything is energy. That's all there is energy. It's our energy that counts, and what type of energy that we are putting forth. I can say something, and I have this wonderful example of when I was being taught a unity class in order to be ordained, and I was in prayer and meditation. Now, I had been teaching prayer and meditation, and I thought, what am I going to learn in prayer and meditation class? Okay, that's one way to say it. And then Spirit switched it up. What can I learn in this prayer and meditation class? Same exact words. The energy was completely different. Being sarcastic, I'm not going to learn anything. And guess what? I won't learn anything. Or if I have the open door of the open mind, what am I going to learn? You mean there's more to learn? And I learned things. It was an excellent class, but it probably would not have been such an excellent class had I stayed with the first energy of what am I going to learn, right? I already know this stuff. We have to be really careful of what we're saying up here, because it's the energy that's going on up here. So today my talk is entitled A Deeper Look. And a deeper look means at prayer. And there's different levels of prayer. A definition of prayer that comes out of the dictionary is a solemn request for help or expression of thanks to God or an object of worship. Number 2, the act of speaking to God in order to ask for something or to give thanks. And the etymology of prayer means to ask earnestly or to beg someone in a religious sense to a god or a saint. Now, Unity and New Thought teachings do not teach that type of prayer. We don't talk to God. We don't recognize that we're needing to ask God for anything. In fact, did you know that God is not a person, but it's persons? And I love what and I'm going to just share just a few little small readings out of How to Pray Without Talking to God by Reverend Linda Martella-Witzett. God is not a person. We personally and individually express God. Okay, we personally and individually express God. How many God beings are in here? Each one of us is an individualized expression of the divine. And we're here to express God as we realize and embody divine life, divine love, intelligence, and all the divine capacities that God is. God is the one power in and through all of life, and is love itself and life itself. The indescribable yet divine force. The divine is in the invisible good that we can choose to make manifest. And this understanding prompts a new way to pray. We teach affirmative prayer. So there's conventional prayer, traditional prayers how many of you learned traditional prayers like ask God for something? Most of us did. And I don't even want to go into now I lay me down to sleep. We're not going there. But it's the asking God for something. But you think about all the prayers that we do. We're praying for peace, we're praying for this, we're praying for that, and still the prayers don't appear to be answered. Or are they? And God is not here, by the way, hate to break it to you, is to fulfill your wishes. That we think that we need to ask God, or in our teaching, that we're claiming something. We need to claim that this good is already there. That's what unity affirmative prayer is. We believe that everything already exists. The only thing that blocks me from having what it already exists is me and my belief system, which is probably blocking. Or maybe the universe has something even greater for me and for you. What if that's true? Now, I went through Centers of Spiritual Living, which was also known as religious science, back in 1999, 1995, when Marianne Williamson showed up and did a talk. But I had 3 years of prayer practice. We had 3 years before we could become a licensed prayer practitioner. And I'm going to go briefly through what those 5 steps are. It's a 5-step prayer. R. The first one starts with an R. To recognize that God is all there is. Recognizing that Spirit, the divine, is everything, everywhere. Now, does that sound familiar to unity teachings? Yes, because it's the first principle in the 5 Principles book. If you want to know more about unity, pick up the 5 Principles, because that puts it down into the 5 Principles. But God is all there is. That's all there is. There's God and only God. Let's say that. There's God and only God. And then you can, if you don't like the word God, put another word in there. There's love and only love. Let's try that. There's love and only love. And what if you just repeated that over and over and over and over and made it a mantra? There's love and only love. There's peace and only peace. Because we're not here to change anything on the outer level. The only thing we have that can we change is this. And my outer will only change if I have changed something internally. There isn't anything that I'm going to make happen. God is not here to serve my wishes or your wishes. It's here as a law that is seeking to express. The only purpose there is in prayer is for us to remember who we are. Period. That's it. And we can say this, we can say the 5 principles, we can say these 5 steps of prayer. The first one in spiritual mind treatment is what they would call the official name of affirmative prayer with Centers for Spiritual Living. Recognizing God is all there is. Well, number 2 is unity. They say unify, but I don't like the word unify because it sounds like I'm separate from the divine. No, I'm a divine being, period. And so are you. But how many of us actually believe that with every cell of our body, with every breath, that I'm the divine? We haven't been taught this. Why did Jesus spend so much time in the desert? He was trying to get away from all the other thinking, and he spent so much time in meditation to understand. And he also, I'm sure, went to India and spent time there to learn these universal life principles. So, to recognize if God is all there is, then I am one with the divine. I am one. I am a God being. And no, none of us, including your minister, don't believe that 24/7, because I haven't saturated myself to embody the fact that I am the divine and so are you. But this is what I get to do as my living, is to recognize that. And so number 3, and it's all logical, by the way. God is everything, everywhere, all that is. There's only God. There's only love. Well, guess what? Then I am God. I'm a God being, and so is everybody else. Number 3 is to realize that if that is true, then whatever I think I want, I already am. It's not something that I need to have come into my life. I have to believe that I am it. This is heavy-duty stuff today. I'm just putting you through the paces. You grasp any part of it, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you the last 2 steps. The fourth one, I realize that everything, if I want love in my life, I have love in my life because I am love. And I cannot not have love because I am love. Then I go into gratitude. Now it's not like, thank you, God, for this. Thank you, God, because if I thank you, God, are separate from me. No, I don't thank God. I say, I'm so grateful to know the truth. I am so grateful to know the truth. You hear me at the end of every service. I'm so happy and grateful now because I am grateful to know the truth, that God is all there is, that everything that I would like to have, I already am. Like I said, this is heavy duty, so if you're just staying with me, this is good. And the last one is release. I release my word which is energy and power. I release this word into the activity of the law. Well, what's the law? The law means if I believe it, I achieve it, and I receive it. Because there is a law that it is done unto me as I believe. How much do I believe? That's why we release it, believing that there's an activity of law. Now, there's 5 steps of prayer. There's 5 steps of prayer in unity. I'm going to boil it down to 1. There's usually 2 steps, that all is the divine and I am the divine. If you just did those 2, everything would fall into place. I'm going to tell you about the seagull, and maybe I've told you about it before, but I was out on a drive with my friend, Janet, and we were driving down the coast of California, and we pulled the car over because we wanted to walk down to the ocean. So we did, and it was a deserted beach. And so we're walking along and talking, and the waves are coming, and we're just having a good time. And we see this seagull in front of us, and we keep walking. Well, we notice that the seagull is not really moving around or flying away from us, which you get close enough to a seagull, they're going to take off. This bird did not take off. The closer we got, we saw that around its beak, it had fishing line and a hook in its beak. And we're looking at this bird, and all I could do, because I was just in training for the spiritual mind treatment, affirmative prayer, I just started repeating in my head, God is all there is, God is all there is. We're looking at this bird, God is all there is, God is all there is. I don't know what we could do. Could we take it somewhere? Can we even do, God is all there is. My mind just went to that one phrase, God is all there is. You want to shift something? Say that over and over and over again. So we're looking at this bird and we're like, what are we going to do? Can we do something? God is all there is. There is one other couple on this beach, and they're up by the bank. And we call them over. And we said, there's a bird tied around. It's got wire around its beak, and it's got a hook in it. And this guy pulls out surgical scissors out of his pocket. Okay, how many of you go to the beach with surgical scissors in your pocket? I'm just saying, this stuff, I'm not making it up. We took a jacket, the four of us surrounded, dropped the jacket on the bird, picked up the bird, and snip, 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 he cuts it and pulls the hook out. Okay, and then he sets the bird down, and we're all hugging each other like, oh my God, that just happened. And then we look, and about 100 yards off of the coast, there are dolphins leaping through the air, and the little seagull is now pecking in the sand, because I'm sure he's hungry and he's looking for some bugs, right? All I had to do is say, God is all there is. You want to change something? Just do that. Simple, okay? And in our teaching, we teach to feel. You know, if we go back to what are we going back to? Affirmative prayer. It's not just the words you speak and what you claim, it's the feeling tone. I was going to show you a video, but Spirit says I don't need to. I can just tell you what's in the video. Greg Braden is talking in this video. It's not the best quality, but it's how I prayed for rain. Well, here in the Southwest, a great drought was happening. And Greg had a friend who was an indigenous culture friend, and they were going to go, the indigenous man was going to go out into the wilderness and pray for rain. And he asked Greg to go with him. So Greg said yes. So they hike and hike and hike and walk and walk and walk for a couple hours. And they get to this place that was ancient, and there was this circle. And the indigenous man walked into the circle, closed his eyes, and after a minute, opened his eyes, looked at Greg, and said, I'm hungry. Let's go get something to eat. And Greg's like, what did you just do? What was that? That was your prayer? We walked for 2 hours? And the man said, what I did is I closed my eyes, and I could smell the rain, and I could feel it on my body. And my feet were in the mud because it had rained so much. That's all I did. Later that day, you know it, it poured. It poured and poured and poured. So, but it was the feeling tone that was the important part of this experience. Feel as if it is already so. We think that we're going to pray for something and then it's going to happen. No, it's not going to happen that way. I want you, whenever you recognize that there's something that you would like to have, imagine that you already have it. Imagine it's already there, and feel the feelings of what it would feel like. Because when you feel the feelings, you don't need the thing anymore. Because we're always praying for one thing, a greater expression of God. That's it. Might look like a red Corvette. No, it's not the red Corvette you want. What would you feel if you had that red Corvette? Freedom, joy, right? Well, those are aspects of God. I just want to feel freedom and joy as I'm driving my cool car and feel like yippee-doo on top of the world. Well, that's spirit. That's the energy of God. But I didn't need the red Corvette in order to feel it. I just got to feel it, and I didn't need it anymore. That is the key to prayer, plus saying thank you. Eckhart Tolle, if the only prayer you ever say is what? It's enough. And I know I just said, don't say thank you. However, it's the same thing. And Spirit doesn't care how you pray, by the way. You can say help. All Spirit wants to do is be recognized that there is a power greater and higher than me. And if I recognize that it's there to love me, to love you, to bring itself forth, live in gratitude. We just want to say thank you, and we want to say thank you every day. And so it is.